if you want to get people into that channel where they get in the zone and they're taking more and more action and they find themselves doing things they would have thought impossible just a little bit before, you've got to actually start them off with small, simple wins, a lower level of challenge, things that anyone could do that then kind of escalate into bigger wins and bigger actions.
Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kheifets, and today I'm hosting Marissa Murgatroyd. Marissa started her career as an artist who was told by her father that she had no marketable skills. She figured out how to build a multi-million-dollar business anyway, and has shown over 12,500 students how to succeed online, many of whom also felt like they had no marketable skills. As the founder of Live Your Message and creator of the Experience Product Masterclass, she's on a mission to reinvent online education around the world so results and engagement become the norm and not the exception. Marissa has personally sold over $40 million in online courses and programs that have student success rates 10 to 30 times higher than the industry standard. She does this by creating what she calls the experience products instead of more traditional online courses and information-based products. An experience product is an entirely new framework for creating online courses that combine the most powerful elements of gamification, behavioral design, adult learning psychology, and innovative curriculum design to create an engaging experience that works with the brain's natural chemistry of motivation to get people hooked on taking action and getting results. Or, as she likes to say, I get people so excited about changing their lives that they stop dreaming and start doing. Marissa has shared this new approach to product creation at top industry events, including Traffic and Conversion Summit, Mind Valley Momentum, EverCoach Summit, LaunchCon, and the Conscious Business Network. She's also become the go-to course creation expert for industry luminaries and heavyweights such as Mary Morrissey, Vishen Lakhiani, JJ Virgin, Josh Turner, Taki Moore, and many more. Most recently, Marissa co-founded the Experienceify, the world's first fully gamified membership site software, to make her methodology available to more online course creators. She lives in Austin, Texas with her husband and business partner, Murray, who keeps her laughing all day long with his Australian sense of humor, and they affectionately call each other Monkey. All right. So why Monkey? Why not Teddy Bear or you know?
Monkeys are smart and mischievous. And I got to say, I've got this little Easter egg that I do in all my interviews by trying to get the guest to say the word monkey. The host.
I win. I was like probably the fastest to say it. Well, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. Obviously, I've seen you, go around the industry and raise awareness for gamification. And, I've been a big student of gamification myself simply because I'm a gamer before I was an information marketer. So I was looking forward to this episode.
Excellent. Well, it's something that I love talking about because there's so much power to just up-level what you're already doing and get people hooked in a good way on not just buying from you, but actually following through and completing whatever it is that you sold them. And then that leads to this incredible upward spiral of more sales and referrals and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to dive into some of the key concepts that you found to be, most effective when it comes to gamification, because we've been experimenting with all sorts of stuff. And I can't say that every aspect we tried worked, and a lot of it has been hit and miss. But some of it is just, people just go nuts over it. So I'm really curious to pick your brain about, having consulted and worked with so many course creators, what are you seeing that's working in getting people as addicted to courses as they are to their phones, video games, casinos, and more?
100%. Well, I actually developed this methodology called the experience formula, which are 10 core experiences that you want to add to your course, even to your marketing campaigns, to get more consumption in your marketing while avoiding what most people do when it comes to selling courses and information. And I wanted to say that gamification is a piece of it, but it's not the only piece. So for example, if you just stick points on top of something or leaderboards on top of something, but the points and leaderboards aren't particularly meaningful to people, it's not super helpful. And it's why the very first core experience here that I recommend is what I call mission. And mission is having a photo finish to your course or program, a really clear win state. Because if people don't know what winning looks like, it doesn't matter how many points they get when they achieve, forward progress, they don't care about them. So you have to make that win state super compelling, which of course skyrockets sales, and it's really good marketing, right? And once they understand what they're buying, and this win state is so clear and specific that you could photograph someone crossing the finish line. That's what you're looking for. You want that clear mental picture and so much specificity that people know without a shadow of a doubt that they've won. Once you've got that, you've actually got a program that can be gamified. Make sense? If you've got this vague, fuzzy outcome, or you're trying to do 10 things, then adding points to it's not super duper helpful because they don't know what winning looks like. And so the points aren't motivating. So that's one of the reasons I think that gamification is hit or miss for a lot of people, is they're just trying to drop it on top of something that isn't designed and structured in a way that's motivational. And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to creating courses is they try to structure and design a course logically. Like, here's the first step, here's the second step, here's the third step, and so on. But that oftentimes leads with starting with a whole module just talking about why this thing is important, or giving context or background information, where you're training people to watch and listen versus be an active participant. So one of the things that I recommend doing is structuring your programs motivationally. So if you actually look at the best games, the first level is super duper easy, where the first level is almost training you how to do a course, but in an actionable way, right? Because if the first level of a game defeated you, it'd be the world's worst game, wouldn't it? Instead, the first level is easy. You kind of smash the first level and you're like, I'm just naturally talented. I'm brilliant. I'm the bomb. I'm going to keep going, right? And so the games kind of trick you into thinking that you're actually good, right? And so the course needs to be structured motivationally. So here's the thing, and I think I don't think I have a printout of that, but if you understand some of the flow research, like from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, you get into this flow channel when your level of skill matches the level of challenge. So if you want to get people into that channel where they get in the zone and they're taking more and more action and they find themselves doing things they would have thought impossible just a little bit before, you've got to actually start them off with small, simple wins, a lower level of challenge, things that anyone could do that then kind of escalate into bigger wins and bigger actions. So you want to structure your program motivationally. And even understanding, how do you create that very first win? Like, what does that look like? And how can that win reinforce the promise of the program as a whole? So an example is a student of mine who was building a course on how to get your music listed on television shows, right? And so there's a bunch of musicians coming in, taking his course. And what do you think is the first thing he had them do? If you're designing a course logically, the first thing that he had them do,
decide on a song you want to get listed?
No, it was actually go to all these music websites and apply to become eligible to submit your music. And it makes sense. It makes sense from this logical flow. You need to be eligible before you can begin the process. But he's asking musicians to go do a bunch of legal paperwork and sign a bunch of forms, which just meant that a lot of them were bailing out of the course as soon as they signed up, because who wants to do that first? So I had him restructure the course. And now
Wait,
the very
you mean people aren't excited about bureaucracy?
No, they're not excited
No?
about bureaucracy. Yeah. So instead, it was like, okay, let's do the first training about the Dream 50. And that is the 50 TV shows that if you were to get on even one of these shows, it would make your entire investment worthwhile, your investment of time, your investment of energy, your investment of money. And then you want to make this so freaking foolproof by actually compiling a list of all the shows that accept submissions from amateur musicians that aren't represented by a major label, right? And then sorted by genre. And what this does is now, not only do you collect wins at the end of doing the training, it's like every single TV show that you put on this list is like a little micro reward. Make sense? Because you imagine yourself for a moment being on that show as you write that show on the list. So that very first session is reinforcing 50 times the promise and the finish line of the course. So it takes on even more meaning and adds dimension and texture and context, because now you have a mental picture of what that win looks like. So we completely skyrocketed the number of people consuming the course just by shifting that very first session, right?
This is really interesting because I think at some point we've done kind of a similar transition where you took a course that was selling well, but the implementation wasn't there. And we, I think by accident, redesigned it into what made it into our most consumed and most implementable program. And we basically took and broke it down into like a 30-day or a 30-step process where the first step was just very simple. It was just buying a domain, and the step is so simple that everyone does it. And they're like, oh, look, it's real now. I have a website,
I know. And it's painful as like a program creator to make something so simple at first. But it's really interesting. I give this example of Dance Dance Revolution. And Dance Dance Revolution has sold like 10 million units or something in arcades around the world. And they get kids like dancing so fast you wouldn't believe it. But it starts with, the very first training is one step to the left, one step to the right, one step to the left, one step to the right. So all the people who can't dance, they can do it. And I'm doing this online challenge right now to crack your course idea. The very first day, 10-minute video. All they need to do is choose their approach, whether it's passion, problem, proficiency, or proprietary solution. That's it. It's so freaking easy. And then they feel like they've made progress. And it's really one of 4 choices. And then you can't even get the choice wrong because all of them lead to viable choices. So it's like making it so easy that people are like, oh, wow, this is easier than I thought it would be. And it activates so many psychological principles, the principle of consistency, right? So people are more likely to take action once they've identified themselves as someone who's taking action. And when you keep building that up, then when they hit the kind of point where it's challenging, where the friction really comes, they have enough momentum to kind of carry them through that particular point in the process. But there are going to get to be hard bits. But if you can really start kind of boosting their confidence as they go and their sense of their skill set, then that's kind of the motivational structure of a program that really helps get people across the finish line. And then when you add things like wins and you add peak emotional experiences and animations and celebrations and feedback loops and, messages like text messages and customized emails and customized voicemails based on what they're doing or not doing, then it's like the amplification of all that. Make sense?
Yeah. Tell us more about the customizable emails, text messages, and voicemails.
Yeah, so this is actually something that we have built into our membership site platform, Experientify. And we launched this a few years ago just because I built it for myself at first because I was coming up with this methodology and none of the membership sites actually could do what I wanted to do. And then all my students were like, hey, I want a membership site like this. And since we built it, a lot of industry leaders, people like Jay Shetty and even Vimeo has all their courses on Experientify right now. And Dan Balzerian and all these people are coming on because it really, really works. So
wait, Dan Bilzerian has a course?
Yes.
Isn't he supposed to be playing poker on a helicopter that's sitting on top of a yacht with a bunch of hot
pretty much, and the course is reflective of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
So if you want to learn how to get lots of women, it's a good course for you.
So it's like a dating product, or?
Well, it includes just getting what you want, I think. I only saw like a couple minutes of it. But whether you want women, whatever you want, it's really helping you get what you want.
You know what I want? Like between you and me, I'd really love a beard like that.
Oh, yeah?
I can't grow a beard to save my life. Like what you're seeing now is like 2 months.
But honestly, like a well-kept beard, I think is a lot sexier than the full-on lumbersexual beard personally. But right? I did tell my husband, who's a technologist, that you are my current husband, but I'm going to need a different apocalypse husband, If we ever go to the apocalypse, I'm going to get rid of my tech geek husband. I'm going to get one of those lumbersexuals.
Lumbersexuals.